Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Hot Girls Got Stomach Issues. Today I'm going to be talking about how stress affected my gut and how I was able to heal it. So, before I was diagnosed with gastritis, my lifestyle was pretty crazy. I was going out every night. I also was dealing with a breakup after an 8-year relationship, well, almost 8-year relationship. And I was drinking heavily. Diet was terrible, eating a lot of processed foods, not really cooking, and ordering out a lot. During this time, I had really no plans of honestly changing my lifestyle because my health seemed okay. And when I look back on it now, it wasn't okay. I was just pushing through. But yeah, it was a terrible time for me. I was definitely trying to suppress emotions with liquor, processed foods, being around the wrong type of people, which led to me, putting a lot of stress on my body. I wasn't sleeping properly too. That will also put a lot of pressure on your body, your gut, everything. And it also just honestly creates a ton of inflammation in the body, which, think about it, you're doing that for me, I had been doing that since college. So just imagine constantly drinking, constantly eating all these gross negative foods that are not nourishing your body. It will just break things down. So when I think about it now, it makes sense why I'm dealing with these issues. Thankfully, most of them are healed, but it's why my body came crashing down. So I'll never forget, as I was dealing with, the stress and everything, I went out to a restaurant and I had my daily glass of wine. Hearing myself say that now, it sounds disgusting. But I had my daily glass of wine, and I remember just feeling very queasy, like I was going to pass out. And immediately after, I went home, and the week after that was just straight hell. I was projectile vomiting, just up acid. My stomach felt like it was on fire. It literally felt like I was dying. I had never experienced any pain like that. And that's when I went to the ER. I remember them running a bunch of tests, and they were just like, everything seems normal. And to me, I'm just like, everything's not normal. My stomach's on fire. I'm vomiting like crazy. And at that time, I was dizzy like every day. There was so much going on, and I kept on telling them, like, there's something not right. So based off of the concerns I brought to them, they were like, you should go and see a gastroenterologist. So when I went to go see the gastroenterologist, I scheduled an endoscopy. So basically, that's where they stick this tube down your throat, and they look to see what's going on in your stomach. And so I scheduled that appointment, got that done, and basically it showed that I had mild gastritis. So that's basically just inflammation of the stomach lining. There was no other things. I didn't have H. pylori, anything like that. So from there, they just gave me famotidine and said take it for a month. Didn't give me weaning instructions, nothing. They kind of just said, here's this medicine, figure it out. Which I feel like a lot of doctors do these days, which is terrible because, I had no idea what to eat to help heal my stomach lining. I had no idea what to expect. And at that time, too, because of the inflammation in my stomach, I was experiencing severe panic attacks, anxiety attacks, which at the time I didn't think, hey, like my gut and my mind are connected until I started doing research and seeing like there is a gut-mind connection. And so from there, I started doing my own research on gastritis, how to heal. I got an amazing book called The Gastritis Healing Book, which basically gave a breakdown of how to find the root cause of your issues. Mine being, stress, processed foods, alcohol, all those things, which I knew I had to remove to heal. It also gave, breakdowns of different recipes and basically a time frame of doing all this healing process, which in the book, it was like 3 to 6 months, I believe, which isn't a lot. It definitely took me way longer to heal mine, but again, I had been doing a lot of damage to my body, so I was thankful that after about 2 years, I was starting to feel normal, and the only thing I had left was acid reflux. So I'm going to jump in now to how I reduce the stress, because I'm sure a lot of you want to know about that, especially if you feel like stress is the cause of your gastritis and your gut issues. So the first thing I did was I basically focused on promoting a work-life balance. I think that's important. I think especially when you work from home, which is something I do, it is hard to separate work and your personal life because at home they're both mixed together. So I definitely set boundaries. I took Slack and things like that off my phone, and as soon as I was done working, I was like, okay, we are not going to focus on screens. We are going to be mindful of how we're, working and spending our time. So that was the number one big thing. The next thing, incorporating practices like yoga, meditation, breath work, those super helpful. I feel like, yoga is something that calms your body, your mind. Also, it makes you really in tune with your body, which is something that I wasn't in tune with at all. Honestly, I wasn't really focused. If anything, I was focusing on being numb to not deal with things that I didn't want to deal with. Meditation, that also is something that kind of distracts you, gets your mind, I don't know if I want to say still, but you know what I mean, like it calms your mind. And then breath work, that just calms your body in general and like just calms your nervous system, which I think is super important when it comes to your gut issues. And so another thing I did was I did incorporate specific supplements to help reduce my stress. So I incorporated the magnesium blend from Innate, and basically it has the 3 forms of magnesium in it, and they help relax your body. One thing I had a big problem with was basically stress was not sleeping properly. I would barely sleep. I would run off of like 3 to 4 hours of sleep, and that is so bad for your body. It raises your cortisol levels, so many things. So the magnesium blend helped with that. And then I also took L-theanine. So one thing I tend to do sometimes, especially when it comes to work, is I will overthink. Or if something bad happens, I kind of spiral a lot. And I feel like L-theanine was something that helped me calm my mind, which was super important. So those supplements together help reduce the stress. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is getting rid of toxic relationships. So as we know, toxic relationships can really take a toll on your mental health and your physical health. I feel like at that time, because of the things that I was doing, drinking and stuff like that, you don't necessarily attract the right people. So you'll have people who around you who don't really have your best interests, which is not great. And I feel like a lot of situations that I dealt with those people could have been prevented if I just wasn't around those people and drinking and doing different things. So one thing I did was I assessed who was in my friend group who was actually benefiting my life and who was benefiting my life and who was not, removing them. And that actually helped with stress a ton. You don't realize how much stress people put in your lives until you remove them. So that was a huge thing. So that is how stress affected my gut and caused my gut issues. And then, of course, how I helped get rid of that stress. I'll kind of dive in and talk more about my gut issues and how I healed them and different things I did and things I'm doing currently still to help heal my gut because it's an ongoing process. I still deal with acid reflux and things like that. One thing I will say is give yourself grace, and think about, too, all the years you put damage on your body. Healing to me is ongoing. It's never ending. But thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos.